Oh crap. I'm on the run. What the fuck? Lightroom tutorial. Oh man. Anyways. I keep going back and forth. I can't never tell which one I'm on. Is it because it? Hey, look at that big finger transition. Thank you. Goodness gracious. Wow. What a beginning to a stream. A beautiful beginning, if I don't say so myself. My name is Josh. Nice to meet you guys. If you give me just half a second, I'm gonna make sure my sound is good, so you can actually hear what I'm saying. I know my voice is a little bit on the low side, so I just want to make sure everything sounds fairly well. What a beginning to a stream. A beautiful beginning, if I don't say so myself. My name is Josh. Nice to meet you guys. Pretty clear. If you give me just half a second, I'm gonna make sure my sound is good. So it turns out my sound was good, and that's all I can ask for. So this is my second real stream. Oh God. Hopefully my third will not be when I'm sick. But I might be free from this cold or whatever it is. Oh. Water. I tell you what. Water is the creme de la creme. Sorry. So, today we're going to be doing some Lightroom tutorials. I'm sorry, a little explanation of Lightroom. Usually I'm a much more light sounding person, freer, happier, enjoying my life to an extent. Today is a little bit rough for me. I've been dealing with some type of weird cold for about 4 days, I guess. Starting on Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, about 4 days. So I need to get to the bottom of that. I will be doing that soon. But for now, I think I should be pretty good. Oh, sorry. That's kidding. So I'll be I should be sounding a little better next time I do a video. But thanks for sticking with me anyways and not being weirded out by my rough sounding nature. Right now I'm going to be heading into my Lightroom. And oh yeah, I forgot my stream is lagged. So, a friend of mine named Melania Vasquez, I'll add her Instagram in the bio when I get a chance. She sent me some photos. I met her at the Fife and Drums Drummers Call, which I used to be in the Fife and Drums when I was little, a little baby boy. I was a drummer myself. Oh, here we go. Lightroom. By me. Okay. Okay. Shoot. I told this guy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I was gonna get her Instagram. I totally forgot. I'm such a bad live thinker. So her Instagram is a.wannabe.photographer in Instagram, and I'm gonna add that to the chat to the bio right now. Follow her photos at insta the guests photos at I wanna be insta. Okay. So yeah, so when I met her at the Colonial Williamsburg's Fife and Drum thing, and when I first met her, I was like, this girl. I mean, like I'd never seen any of her pictures before, and I happened to just like I saw her mom. She was taking some pictures, and I like to talk to people. I'm just gonna show you some of my pictures while I'm doing that. From that time, this is during the Colonial Williamsburg Fife and Drums drummers call. So I just saw her, and I like to talk to photographers around, listen to their stories, listen to what they have to say. And I was like, so what you do this a lot? And she was like, yeah, I do a lot of different shooting and stuff. And I think they're from Tennessee, maybe Texas, one of the two, starting with a T, I think. We just got to talking, and her daughter was there, and she was taking pictures as well. And we just talked about photography a little bit. We watched the march, and then I gave him my Instagram, and I talked to them afterwards because I saw her daughter's page was full. They both had really good pictures, but her daughter's page was full of really beautiful imagery. I mean, talking compositionally, they were like really just beautiful work. So I was like, wow, she really knows what she's doing. The only thing that I would say is like, it's probably be a good idea if she learned how to use Lightroom. Seeing from, I think she was shooting the Canon T3i maybe, or it was either Canon. It was one of the less expensive models of Nikon that she had been using, and I was like, wow, like if she's able to learn Lightroom, she can really double up on what she's doing. Because I know a lot of people that you just use Instagram's editing features or whatever like that, and they're they're sorry, they're easy to use, but they don't have a lot of depth to them. So I was like, all right, well, send me one of your images, and I'll use it to make a Lightroom tutorial video to just kind of step you guys too, through all the tools of Lightroom, because she was saying that there was a little complicating. There's a lot to learn, in Lightroom, and just didn't know where to start. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you where to start. So, oh boy, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go black for a second. All right, cool. So let's get started. So today I have my trusty dusty chicken scratch paper because I have terrible handwriting as an artiste. Just kidding. So this is just going to be my guide through what I'm doing. So let's start with Lightroom. So there's Photoshop, there's Lightroom, there's Premiere Pro. They're all Adobe software, Illustrator, all those things, and they're all really powerful in their own rights. Photoshop, when it gets to actual like photo manipulation, like powerful tools. A lot of stuff to know in Photoshop. A lot of little intricate little details everywhere, and that are like can be really powerful. I love Photoshop. That's what I learned first was Photoshop. I don't use it as much now because I'm doing more photography, less, the funky, crazy manipulation of photos that much. But I do use it when I really have to get in the details of, blemish control and stuff like that, and people's faces and stuff like that, or whatever. They're, if they want me to clean something up or whatever, or remove something, I can do. I'm pretty good at it. I've been doing that for a while. Lightroom is a little bit different. It has really nice features for editing. It does get pretty detailed. Not as detailed as Photoshop, but it does have really good, helpful features in it. What does Lightroom usually use? Well, I think Lightroom can use any type of image file from PNGs to PNGs, JPEGs, raw files, and I even think video. You can put MP4 files in here. I haven't tried MKV, but it can store all files. The thing about Lightroom is it's like both a storage kind of catalog and an editing software. So you can have them in one place and see where all your pictures are and stuff like that. You import them into Lightroom. It has it imported into wherever on your computer in a little file of Lightroom, and then you can store it and you can back up the catalog and everything like that. There's a lot of little ins and outs. The backing up of the catalog is still confusing to me. I'd watch another tutorial on that if I were you, because I'm not a really big backup guy. I still back up. I just don't know what's happening. But what I usually do when I'm shooting photography, I shoot in RAW. So RAW file format is a very it's uncompressed, right? So when you have an MP4, a JPEG image, what happens is that RAW file, every camera will shoot a RAW file that will become compressed into a JPEG format. So it takes all the details, like crystallizes it into that image, into the whatever color or whatever it was. So there isn't a lot of extra data in each of those pixels throughout the entire image. It's just that what it's been crystallized into. So for example, with any of these pictures, like when you try to edit it afterwards in post or whatever, a JPEG, it'll get really a lot of artifacts, and it'll be really just kind of it'll be a little tough because it's just like how you throw your picture on Instagram, and if it's really dark, on your phone or something, and you try to bring up the brightness, it just gets really grainy and crappy. That's because JPEGs are very compressed, and they just throw out any extra data, so there's not a lot to work with. Lightroom, when I shoot photography, I shoot with the Nikon Z6. It's a beautiful little tool right here. I love this thing. I really enjoy it. I shoot RAW, and I think most photographers do too. I think some shoot JPEG just for the ease of it, to get your pictures out faster, or if you don't do a lot of heavy editing. But I learned a lot of editing when I was young, and I think I do my best to make the colors beautiful and add to the image, not subtract from it. So I don't have a problem with editing. I don't like really heavily gross looking kind of editing, obviously. So I shoot RAW. It gives me a lot of control. So when I get into like the darks, if I underexpose, I can bring up that exposure pretty high. If I overexpose, I can bring it pretty low. And what I'm talking about with underexposure is, for example, I'm gonna pull up one of my images from this here shoot I had with the fife and drums. I'm gonna find an underexposed image. I'm just looking for anything dark, really dark. Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, I know which one. This one, right here. This will be good right here. So with this image, it's a little dark, right? Not a lot of detail in it because of how dark it is. So with a RAW photo, even though it looks almost completely black, right, in a lot of places, when you pull up that exposure, which I'll show you guys how to do that later, but you can see it here, it preserves, because it's uncompressed, they don't throw out data, it preserves so much, even into the blacks. Like we were just looking at that. Sorry. We were just looking at that, and you can see that around his hat and stuff like this. This was a second ago was just black, right? We'll bring it back to the original. It was black. It was like almost completely black. And but when you have the ability to have that data, and this is crazy. You never bring up exposure that much, but having that is really nice because having that extra data, because if you miss by just a fraction, you still have the ability to pull back from it. I'm so sorry. I'm just not. I'm man. And on the other way too, it's not just from the darks. If I overexpose, which I don't think I overexposed many images this go around because it was a very cloudy day. Well, you get the point. Even if I did overexpose, I can still, let's say this guy's hat right here. The sky. Maybe you won't be able to see this. Oh yeah. So even coming from the whites, which look white, right? I can still pull down that data and capture all the almost all the detail in the clouds, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, and if I really want to do, I can do all this. But anyways, so RAW just gives you so much more power to be able to access data that usually would have been lost if you have a JPEG. I'm just kind of making this look kind of hard now. I don't usually do this. This is disgusting, but I just think it's cool right now. Anyways, sorry. Back to what I was doing. Okay, library. Okay, so yeah, so RAW files are very helpful if you can shoot in RAW. But the only downside is with all that uncompressed data, it's very uncompressed. So that means there's a lot of, I was checking my sound limit on the audio mixer. That means there's a lot of image, right? Sometimes you can get up to like 35 megabytes of an image, which compared to the 1 or 2 megabytes of a JPEG, it can run up data pretty fast. Like, you know, my camera with the 64 gigabyte XQD can shoot, I think 1,000, 2,000 maybe, definitely over 1,000, probably 2,000. A lot of raw images. So, I mean, I think I know way more than that. But anyways, but it is a lot of data after a while. So some people like to just keep it low, cut, you know, whatever. But I just can't. I love to have my control. So let's get back to Lightroom. Just as a quick overview, we're looking at the tab. We're first going to look at the tabs here. So we have the library, the develop, the map up here. Book, slideshow, print, web. What I mainly use is the library and develop. These two are the main functions of Lightroom. So library is, you know, your storage of goods, your storage of pictures, which are all these things on the side, you know. And then the develop tab is, oh, well, let me go over this library real quickly. You have these, so these are all, when you import, they'll create these little libraries for you and stuff like that. And there you can even have it send up to your collections, which is like online. It's like synced with your account if you want to have things easily sent over to you know, somewhere digital, because all this on this Macintosh, you know, it's showing where it's stored at. So you can also store it on thumb drives and stuff like that. But if you want it in the cloud, you can have it in the cloud. I know you do a lot of cloud work because I don't know, I don't like having everything in the cloud and then one day you can't access your photos because you forgot to pay your subscription. I don't like that. So then there's the develop. There's the develop, right? Develop has all the tools in it on the side, everything you need, and then it has presets on the other side here, which are pretty interesting stuff. I don't really use any of these. I'm sure they have a lot of cool stuff. I don't really do much with it, but yeah, you can always check that out. And then there's map. I don't use map function. I don't use GPS very much, so I haven't got to use it. I haven't tried it, I mean. So if you want a tutorial on that, find somebody else, because I don't do map. Book was a new tool that, I mean, not new, but I just didn't know about it. I just didn't use it. But I want to start using it eventually, trying to make my own book thing where you can do that kind of stuff. I just haven't gotten down to it. I don't really know. So, you know, one day. Slideshow, again, I don't really use this either. I don't know how to use it either, so don't ask me about it. Print and web, again, I don't do any of this stuff. I'm sure this web could be really helpful, but I don't know how to connect it to anything, so I just stick to the library and the map. So let's say that you've got all your pictures taken and you want to import them into Lightroom. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pop the top open, click the file button, and import photos and videos. Okay, so once you find that, then your picture should pop up. Well, actually, if it's a camera or SQD card, a new source will come up called whatever the name of the camera is or whatever. You can click that, and then it'll show a list of all the pictures. So let's see if I can find anything that's usable. Yeah. Lean. Yeah, so that was a shoot I did with another girl, and then that was just Squidward with some lean. All right, cool. All right. Well, anyway, so you would click that picture, and then you would select them all, and then or deselect whichever you want, and then click this import button at the bottom. I don't condone lean. It's just a funny meme. I thought it was funny. Sorry, 1 second. Oh my goodness. I hate. Anyways. So after you've done that, you just go to the camera, your pictures, then they'll appear in their own folder in the library, right? So I think I went through I showed you how to get through the library on the left side with these things over here. Another cool feature, also, do you see these little things right here? You can pop them in and pop them out, so that you have a little bit more room to see. And also with the bottom carousel thing here, right here, you can close that. On the right, this is where you can do some quick editing. So I'm gonna go back to my that shoot here just for easy photo. Let's say that I have this picture here and I want it to just do a quick jump in color exposure. Like let's say it's too dark and I want it to be brighter. I can hit the exposure tab. It'll jump it up a couple stops. I just Control Z or just a little bit. You got the clarity and the vibrance. It kind of just easy, quick stuff and it also has all of your data on it too. So you have your you can choose how much you see. Oops. Nope. I have never used keywords. I want to start using them too. I'm sure that can be helpful when looking for photos in the future. But so anyways, here's all your data. For example, this picture had a date, time, file, everything like that. What type of metering it was, what I was in, manual, ISO, everything that you needed, everything that was there when you took the picture. So 35, yeah, pretty cool stuff. I'm glad it's there. I like to go back sometimes and look at what they were shot at. 1250 is pretty fast at a 1.8. 1250. Wow, my exposure was the same as my ISO. So yeah, so that's quick develop. That's all the quick develop stuff here, and it's helpful. I don't ever use it though. Like I said, I really get deep in my images. I kind of like to just I don't know. I just haven't gotten to a time where I just needed to get stuff out fast. I know I eventually will, but I just I like to do all of my stuff pretty much manually. So now we're gonna look at the develop tool. We're gonna start moving right along. This big thumb. Let me go back to that picture that I'm gonna be editing. All right, so I'm going to open this up. So what we're going to be trying to do, right, is I'm going to try to get you through to a picture just like this. It's not even a huge difference, right? But it's enough of a difference to see a difference, right? Let me make sure this is reset. Okay, so this is the original, right? And I just want to give it a little more color, give it a little more tone. I might have done a lot with blue. I might tone that down too. And then black and white, right? But I'm just going to be really teaching you how to use Lightroom as a program. You can see some of the tone difference in the ground. Oops, that's black and white. You can see some of the tone difference in the ground. Just very light difference, just stronger colors really. The sky and the grass, everything like that. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so first we're going to look at the develop tabs up here. Oh, sorry, up here. We have the actual developing tools, which is this whole list here. Then we have the cropping, which allows you to make it shorter or, you know, like this or whatever you want to do. Then you have the patch tool, which this helps with blemishes too. I usually do my heavy patching. Well, it depends on the type of, you know, blemish or whatever. This can really be effective, but sometimes a lot more, when there's a lot stronger blemishes, I can throw it in Photoshop. But these are helpful for what it is. Then we have the red eye reduction, which if you're using that pop-up flash, maybe that would be a problem, but most people don't have that problem these days. So, you know, you don't really need it. And then we have the masking tool, which is really nice. I love the masking tool. It's very helpful, as you might have saw in my last video. So what the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the white balance. In the developing tool, we're going to look at the white balance. So first thing when you want to edit a picture, excuse me, is you want to make sure that all your whites are white. You know, the white in the image, the light in the image is white. Because that's like a simple base model of everything, of every other color in the picture. Because think of your light source. Your light source is lighting the picture. So if that light source isn't white, then the picture is going to be whatever that light source is. So in this case, most likely, and I think I wrote it down there, the light source, because it's cloudy, well, it could either be, depending on your camera, white balances automatically, especially if you're auto. Oh, quick side step. This is a PNG. This isn't a raw file, so I don't have as much range in the light and editing as I do with a raw file, but I'm just going to be using it because I told her that I would use it, and I like it. It's a nice picture. So going to the white balance. So what the white balance does is every light has a color temperature, right? So like the one that's facing me right now, I put it on the warm side. The one coming from the windows outside, it's a little on the cooler side. You see that blue versus orange, not just my skin. And I can even, if you wanted to see it, I can even turn, ooh, I almost ripped my thing out. I can turn it colder, I can turn it warmer, just depending on what you want, right? So, you know, every light has a color temperature, and in order to negate that color temperature, we can kind of, you know, change its color. So for example, looking at these whites back here, there's a couple ways you can change it, right? So first, there's the eyedropper, which usually is pretty accurate. It picks a, if I remember correctly, it picks a kind of like weighted average of the pixels around and kind of all the whites, and tries to match it to the right color. So I went ahead and clicked it, and you can see it made a -7 difference. I'm gonna put it back. See, you can tell in the greens here that -7 plus 20. -7 makes it a little warmer, and this purple makes it a little more purple. There's both tint and temperature that are affected when you do this stuff. So tint is the green and the purple, and temperature is the hot and the cold, the blue and the orange. So again, just as so you can see the extremes. So you can, you know, these are the extremes. So if I put it all the way as cold as it can get, it'll look like crap. And if I make it all the way as warm as it can get, it'll also look like crap. Same thing with the tint, green all the way look like crap, purple all the way look like crap. So these aren't made to be like editing tools in the sense like, you know, color grading. You don't want to color grade with the white balance. There's a color grade tab for that. You want white balance to be white, or no matter how you start. I had already had some preset numbers that I was going to go with. They might not be completely accurate, so I mean that's fine. That's what I chose to do, but I'm doing them anyways. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those in. Yeah, I think most likely I edited the pictures and I changed the white balance just a little bit. What you'll notice if you edit your picture and then change the white balance, sometimes it's very drastic. God, I know I sound like crap. Sometimes it's very drastic, a very drastic change, and that's not always good. Sorry, give me a second. All right. Okay, sorry. I had to recover from that for a bit. So, on to the next thing. Wait, let's give me just 1 second. Let me make sure everything's running. Oh man, smoothly here. What is you doing? The tire just hit me. Back to what we were doing. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is the tone section here. This is where you get the exposures, the lights, kind of brightness, contrast, stuff like that. So we have, I'm just going to go through them quickly. We have exposure, which is the main overall brightness and darkness of the image. Black, white. PNGs do have a good amount of data, but it's nothing like RAW. And then we have the contrast, which is self-explanatory. As contrast is the difference between the lights and the darks, So sometimes I'll bring the contrast down because I can, later on in the editing process, there's something called curves, which I'll get to, which I like to use other than contrast just because I have a little bit more control. I'll show you later. Then we have the highlights, shadows, and whites and blacks, which you can individually modify each part of the image, which is also pretty cool because in the histogram you can do the same thing. So the histogram, it has something to do with like the overall image. You can kind of see it. Don't ask me, but I can choose to modify things through the histogram because they're the same: black, shadows, exposure, highlights, whites. Or I can do it in the actual tabs down here, which I usually do it in the tabs down here. So let's say we bring the highlights up or down, or shadows up and down, and then whatever. Yeah. So for me, I've already pre-done this. So negative 0.05. So negative. So I brought the brightness down a little bit. I brought the contrast down as well to negative 98, because like I said, I'll be doing curves later. My highlights I brought down to negative 59 in order to bring the sky into the picture, a little more detail on the sky. In the shadows, I made it 46, so that means I brought the shadows up a little bit. And I don't usually do this by the numbers. What I learned is you can't do things by the numbers. I remember when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of editing videos, pictures and stuff like that. And I would be going off of the numbers that they put in, like, plus 4, 6. There are some instances where you need to do that. But when it comes to like actually just going, looking at your image and changing it how you want, most time you can't do it by the numbers. You just do it by eye, you know what I'm saying? So then we get to the whites, which I put as negative 100. So that means I really brought it down just to kind of equalize them to the rest of the image. And then blacks, which is negative 45. Also kind of just darkening things all together. So now it looks like it actually got flatter. I think I did that in order to have more to work with, because I'm already working with a compressed image. I want as much data there as I can when I work in the next tool. Then we got the presence, which is really nice. This is where the texture, clarity, dehaze, vibrant, saturation, these kind of things, like presence. These tools are great. I love them, but goodness gracious, please, for the love of all things good, don't overdo it. I can't say that enough. People overdo this so much, and I hate it. I hate it. If you watched my last video, I told you how much I hated it. I hate it. It's just disgusting. So people like to take the clarity and, it doesn't look that bad in this picture because it's a landscape picture. Landscape pictures can take a lot of clarity. Textures, just crap it everywhere, and then now it's tough. Now it's grunge. Oh my God, it's disgusting. It's too much. Too much muddying, darkening of edges and everything. I don't like it. In this case, I did use a lot of clarity, I see, because it is a nice, it does allow for that type of strength, because it's a landscape. Landscapes, you can get a lot of good detail in landscapes. You don't want to do that with someone's face, because then they'll be all looking like old and wrinkly, and we want to avoid that when we're trying to make people look good. You know what I'm saying? So so that's texture and clarity. They're a little bit different from each other, but they're definitely both nice. I use both of them depending on the image. Sometimes people, when I light them with the flash, it'll be too sharp, too much, harsh lighting on them. So I use the texture to kind of soften it up, or the clarity to soften it up. I can't definitively explain what they mean, but definitely good tools to use. But yeah, so then there's dehaze, which is actually pretty easy to describe. If you've got a picture that's like, hazy, humid, maybe a lot of blue haze, like the Blue Ridge Mountains or something like that, and you want to kind of clear it up a bit, the dehaze function will kind of take out that extra fade. And it, oof. Sorry, and it does the opposite too. So if you want to make it more hazy, well, feel free to do that. 6. Next is the vibrance and saturation. I will say, like, I don't usually go in line like this. Sometimes I bump around, onto what I want and then come back or whatever. But I'm just going line by line so you guys can see it. So now we're in the vibrance and saturation, which is pretty easy. Saturation is like overall image color. Just everything goes from 0 to 100, right? Or 0. Oh, I said 0 to 100. Anyways, and then vibrance is more like the middle tones. You can see things still get strong, but not as strong as saturation. Because the saturation gets everything, and the vibrance, I think it gets mainly like, I think it's medium tones. Think about it, like them in the middle, not too bright, not too dark, kind of like skin tones, kind of thing. So sometimes I'll do like a mixture of the two. Like I'll have less vibrance and more saturation, or less saturation, more vibrance, to really isolate what colors I want or whatever. But it just depends on the image, and just playing around with it is, you can usually find what you want. In this instance, I have it at 66. I don't believe that. Vibrance at 100? Oh, wow. I probably pulled it back later in the image. So then I have, so it looks like crap right now, so just bear with me until, I don't want to look at it, so I'm going to do that later. Going down to the tone curve. Okay, so this one's pretty cool. So there's a couple of different things you can do with this curve. It's a very complicating tool. It doesn't have to be. For an easy like startup kind of thing, if you want to know how to use the curve tool, you can do the S line. So the S line just looks like this. They say it has more of a film style look to it. I guess it's just how colors kind of go into film. That's just how they do it. Bring the blacks up a little bit, bring the whites down a little bit. A faded kind of grainy or whatever look. And so that's usually what normal people do from when they use the S curve. You can do other things if you wanted to, bring the shadows up and the brightness down, or some ugly thing like that, or if you wanted to go crazy and make it a piece of crap. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but usually the S curve works just fine. Or maybe you just want to isolate one point. How it works though is these little dots, you can add them, and you can kind of they're all based on this graph of highlights and shadows. So shadows on the left, highlights on the right. So I could take the whites or the highlights all the way on the right, drop them down until they're below normal. And you can see the image basically right here where the highlights are. So really nothing really starts. Since I brought those highlights down earlier, nothing really starts until about right here. So when I start moving this one is when you're really going to start seeing things change. But you can see I can bring it all the way down to black, those whites and stuff like that. So I already have preset numbers already, like I said. So I'm going to go ahead and tap those in. Really nice tool though. Definitely, like I said, I use it for contrast, sometimes over using the contrast. Because contrast can be sometimes really just intense and make everything intense. And I'm not always trying to do that. So I have 4 points, it looks like. So starting with the first one, this one is a 2 tab 13. So that means I give it a little fade. When you come up off that bottom line, you're giving this like nice little fade kind of thing. You can kind of see that it's not a true black. And it depends on the image. Sometimes I don't really like, I used to do a lot more fading stuff, fadey kind of stuff. I'm kind of sticking to true black nowadays a little bit more at the very lowest point. But I don't know. It kind of, like I said, depending on the image, you know, if it's a little bit more dreamy, a little more filmic look, you could have a little fade in it. Then the next one is 40, 43, 33. So it looks like I went with a little different of a curve this time. I did a little, oh no, I didn't. Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing the S curve again. So 158, tab 176. What am I doing? Oh, stupid. Oh, one. Okay. All right. That's enough of that. Sorry about that. 158. I must have been tapping hotkeys or something. 176. Okay. And the next one is, not that. 176. Okay. And then the last one was 255, 210. 255, 210. All right. So that means, yeah, I brought the highlights down a little bit, even though, like I said, it's not too much difference because the highlights are already falling off right here. But, you know, just it's giving it that S-line, little film-like kind of field. I see they got them. See, it's mainly based on contrast. But there is the other side of it where you can actually change the underlying, like, colors in it. So, for example, with this one, you can, like, modify the reds and modify highlights to be either further in the reds or the blues or the green, you know, to be in the purples or the greens, and then the blues to be whatever. We're kind of modifying the light itself to be a color. There's cool stuff that you can do with this tool, especially when you're talking about trying to make an image look like film. Because, you know, film doesn't always have perfect colors to it. A lot of times it has like a faded greenish or maybe brownish look, or red. So like if I wanted to do like a, I think it's, oh, what's that one brand? I can't remember. But let's say I wanted to give it a little filmy look, right? I want to actually bring up the little highlights down here, make it look a little bit. Oop, no. Like I said, I want to do it subtly. I don't want to make it look like a freaking circus show, clown show. Too much. This is what, I remember I talked to you earlier about numbers, right? Doing it by the numbers. When I was learning about how to use the curves, I was doing it by the numbers. And I think in that scenario, when you're looking for a specific look that you found, right, and somebody's teaching you how to do it by the numbers, and follow the numbers. Because in this scenario, if your a picture is perfectly white balanced and you're trying to get like that filtered look to it, it's going to be by the numbers. So yeah, it looks a little bit more filmy kind of look to it, you know, a little bit interesting. But that's not really what I'm doing today. I'm not going to be doing any of that extra hubble jubble. I don't think that's a word. Hubble jubble. Anyways, so let me just pull those out. Back to my original image. Okay, cool. So that's the tone curve. On to the next thing. We're going to be hitting one of the most important things to learn in Lightroom. How to drink water. So this one's going to get into the depth of the color. Oh. Ooh. So, oh, it's cool. I have a loop here too. I could do that with the loop. Actually, I don't remember how to do that. What was the loop tool? Let me see if I can find it. View. Loop. That's not how I remember it. I remember there used to be a little tool where I could like kind of zoom in. I don't remember. D. Whatever. Oh, what movie is this right here? I don't know. Anyways, you can forget it. Moving on. HSL, hue, saturation, and luminance. This is where a lot of the power comes from, right? The coloring power. HSL allows you to directly impact a single color on the screen and not affect other things. So unlike saturation, which just blasts everything to smithereens, HSL can modify individual colors. So you can see red, orange, yellow, green, aqua blue, purple, magenta, the main colors. So since there's not a lot of reds in the image, I'll go with green. So let's say that you wanted to change the hue of your green to a more tealish or a more dark, yellowish. Just go ahead and grab that thing over, right? You see that becoming those two different things. So that's a hue, right? The hue of the color, right? And then there's the saturation of each individual color. So I can do it again with, I'll do orange this time just so I can show you. No, there's not enough reds. So the orange, I can bring this all the way up, down, right? You can see what's popping and what's turning off. The house, the bricks, which is really helpful. And then the luminance. Luminance is like kind of like the brightness of each color. You can also bring that down too. So again, I'll do with the greens again. You can tone those greens down, tone them up. You know, I would say especially with skin tones that are like kind of split apart. Like sometimes you'll see on one skin tone a little bit more red here, a little bit more orange here. When you start to like drop the luminance, or any of them really, when you start to drop them out, they start to like kind of like split, and you can see that split really, kind of powerfully, you know, so it doesn't really look good. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's let's see if I can find somebody a close up. I'll do one of the guys. Okay, yeah, let's get right here. Okay, so let's say that oh my goodness, stop doing that. Oop. Let's say we're looking at him, right, and I go ahead and grab the saturation and blast that, right, and then he doesn't have enough. He's mostly on the orange side. Now he looks like a zombie. That one didn't work too well. It's mainly people with just a little bit of different hue color in their face. Or by the lighting or whatever. Let's keep looking. So like if I went to full saturation, right, it would bring out those reds. And you can't, I mean, on a normal image, you can't tell. But once you start playing with it, like then everything gets splotchy and stuff like that. And that's no fault of their own. It's because you're bringing any difference in color down so far. So, you know, you just want to be subtle with it like everything. You don't want to be blowing it up or nothing like that. So those tools are really nice. So for me, it was a lot of typing for this one because I wrote down each color that I wanted. And these are all going to be, I'm going to show you another tool before I modify these. Now we're going to the color grading, which is nice. Shade minute. So you have these three tones. This is a color grading, right? Unlike, this is more color correcting or whatever like that. But this is more color grading. So you get the more creative freedom in these ones. For like, if you want like cinematic feel or something like that. So you have these three balls, circles, and each one of them you can pull in any of these hue directions, right? So you have the shadows, midtones, and highlights, and you can pull them around, and you can brighten them up or darken them down. And let's say again, it's the same, you know, kind of the same thing as with the curves that I was doing, but this one's just a little better. So let's say I wanted to crush the blacks there. That's what it's called. When you bring it down bring black down that far, it's called crushing the blacks. And then the midtones, you know, let's say I do some spooky. Ooh, spooky. And then the highlights, I'll go with a yellow or red. This all looks like crap. Ooh, spooky. So what you can do is, so once you find the color that you like, you can grab it and you can desaturate it a bit by pulling it in, or saturate it more by pulling it out. Or you can also do that when you look at each individual tone. So right here, you click this, right? It's the same thing as these three. It's just showing the shadows, right? Shadow, and then the midtones and the highlights. And so you have a little bit more control. So you can either use the little knobs here, and which they'll, once you put it in place, you can kind of just slide it up and down, or you can turn it like this to keep on that same point around the circle. And then also, you can also just use these tabs right here, hue and saturation, and then luminance, which you can't see on the ball. So luminance is the darkening and brightening. So then there's the global kind of correcting, or creative thing, whatever it's called, color grading, where the whole image will go in one direction or the other, wherever you want it to go. So we'll keep going with the spooky, and pull it back a little bit, just to get, I don't know, whatever you want. Then there's the, which isn't shown here, it's not in the global, but it's in the other three. There's the blending and balance, right? And this is going to be the same on all three of them. If you change it here, it's going to be the same as it is here. It doesn't change. Each individual one doesn't change, just stays the same. So this is kind of like how well those three blend together and on what side do they blend on. So if it's mostly on the shadow side, everything is going to blend on the shadow side. If it's mostly on the highlight side, you see how on the shadow side it's purple, and then the balance is more to the shadows. If it's more on the highlights, the balance is more to the yellows up here. And then the blending, again, is like kind of how they kind of merge together. So you can, when you make it a little bit less cheesy, you can make it look kind of spooky or whatever you want without it looking too like silly. And, purple skies aren't really that realistic. So reset these all back to what they were, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my numbers in. So for my shadows, I do like how you can get close up like this. Sorry. 0, 0, -1. And yeah, I know it sounds weird that I'm just like this -1. That's like nothing, but I don't know. I get really particular. I really do like to touch just to the very finest changes. It all matters to me. Oh, that was a 6, not a -6. 38, 34, 95. Looks a little bit purplish. I don't remember it being purple. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Oh, 310, 38. I said, will you stop playing with me? Why are you still purple? For what purpose? 45. Oh, it's probably because my global is still in purple. Yeah. And then my global was 47. I think that says 47. This says 97. Oh my gosh. 47 tab. 15. 42. Oh my God. Okay, and I don't know. I guess I didn't save what the blending mode was, so just bear with me as I figure 46. Okay, 46. All right, a little bit warm tone. You see the colors coming through. Here's another cool little tool right here. I really like it. It's the comparing tool thing. So I can press the Y, and that'll show me the before and the after, and then I can kind of change how it shows up, And then there's the RA, which is you can drag another picture in to compare it with another picture. And then when you want to go back, just click this button. So then we're going into the sharpness. We're getting close to finishing it. It's not too much more. The sharpening tool is really cool. I'm going to go ahead and grab this and sharpen this to infinity, just so you can see. This is a little loop here where you can kind of see how the sharpening is going. Very intense. All these things are parts of the sharpening tool. So masking kind of like finds like the edges and stuff like that. The details, like how much detail is left over. The radius is like how, I guess, big the sharpening pixel is or whatever like that. And the amount is how intense it is. So for this one, and I'll show you on a picture that's a little bit more, it has a little bit more image data in it, so you can kind of really see what's changing. Let's go back to that, see if I can find that one picture I took a second ago. Let's do this one. Okay, yeah, let's do this one. So let's say I develop this one. I bring the exposure up. Highlights down. We'll do something stupid again. Textures, whites, black, shadows, exposure, contrast, dehaze. Okay, yeah, that looks terrible. And then we can zoom in. Okay, I want it to be super sharp. I want it to be strong. Yeah. Okay. You can see a little bit on the hand what it's doing. So I'm bringing the details up. The masking kind of like cuts it down to certain wherever you want it to be. Radius again, like it's kind of like it like knows the edge and it kind of like shifts around. So it's like right on the edge and then it's kind of like around the edge. But yeah, so that's very, again, like, you know, do whatever you want to do. I'm not gonna make it look like crap. Oh, disgusting. All right, let me reset this before I get pissed off. But sharpening is very effective, especially with like my picture right here. I really like this one. Oh, I thought it was edited, isn't it? I could have sworn I edited this picture. It even looks like it's edited. Oh, there we go. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, so because the one before it is, I guess it's not. Oh, whatever. Okay, so like with this one, is a really nice picture. It's just a little soft, right? So if I wanted to just sharpen that up, well, let me bring it up the brightness a bit. I wanted to sharpen it up, then I gotta go ahead and move to the sharp tool. I got plenty of control. I always blast to 100 before I start editing, just so I can see what I'm actually editing. Like I can see the pixels and where I want my sharpening to be. I can see how much detail I want, where I want it. The problem with masking is that like you see how it blurs other things, makes everything else look blurry except for the things that is around. It's helpful, but like, you know, just can't overdo it. Just like everything. The radius can be helpful, you know, when you're really trying to harden those, you know, the textures. But again, you don't want it to be too crazy. I want them to have texture. I think texture is beautiful. I just don't want it to be too crazy. Yeah, so now your image just looks that much sharper, you know. And this is before and now. You probably can't even tell from the YouTube stream, but yeah, you can't even tell. That's how particular I am with my stuff. Like, most people couldn't tell that there's a difference at all because they don't look, but each pixel matters to me. I'll do a little sharper just so you guys can tell. And it also, especially when you do like a smaller image on on your website or whatever, when you don't when you sharpen, like it can really make those images look crisp, very crisp. Also, this screen that I'm using is not very. It's only it's just a little TV that I have, so it's not really I don't feel like talking anymore. Just kidding. Back to my image. So now that we've gotten the sharpness, learned a little bit about sharpness, I'm going to go ahead and put those numbers in. That was 66 to 2.6. And I'll zoom in so you can see what's happening. So starting at 0. So that's 0, 66. I'll bring these down again too. So 66, which here's, again, not that big of an image, so it doesn't make a huge difference. 2.6, which detail is 50. I guess the next is 0. No masking. I don't usually use masking, like I said, because it just, I don't know. Lens correction, a good, helpful little thing. Before we go there, I'm just going to talk about this. This tool, I talked about it in the last video. Amazing. Can't use it on PNG or JPEG. You can use it on RAW. It literally seems to modify the DNA of the RAW file. I love it. It's so powerful. So beforehand, like, and again, I will pull up another image so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So beforehand, you know, we would use the noise reduction tools, which they're helpful, but they're just not very, how shall I say it? They kind of make things look waxy, really waxy looking. I need an underexposed image. That's all I need. It's a little bit intense. I need an underexposed image so you guys can see. Okay, so here we go. So let's say I bring this picture up a bit and down a bit and shadows down a bit. Okay. So this one's not too bad. It's not too noisy, but I'll bring up the textures just to really hammer this home. I don't want to do that to this guy. No, I'll do another one. Once again. Okay, this might be a little better. Very close up. It's like a peekaboo. Peekaboo. Didn't I have a noisy image that I was looking at? Yeah, the kids with the... Yeah. The kids with the drums. I'll use that image because that'll help really explain it. Kids with the drums. Okay, kids with the drums. Okay, here it is. All right, so one second. Hello, how can I help you?
Hello.
What's up? I'm doing well. I'm making a stream right now.
I'm on it.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
What'd you say?
Can I be special guest?
Yeah, special guest number 1 is Nate, my good video production friend. Say something nice, Nate. Don't get me in trouble.
All right. I'm watching it right now. This is cool.
Okay. All right. Cool. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm almost finished with all the tools.
Yeah, I'll talk to you.
All right. Cool. Bye. Thanks, Art. Thank you. Say thank you. Oh God. Say thanks to our special guest for showing up on the live stream, giving me a good call, and you can too, if you have my phone number. So we're going to be talking about the denoising, Nate, if you were wondering. I was showing earlier how you can bring those blacks all the way up so that you can see, and also all the way down. And this is such an amazing tool, man. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the denoise tool. It takes a second to do, but it's going to radically change this. And I think I showed you this in that one image I had, and I'll pull it up for you guys if you're wondering. I had this I took this picture of the bridge. Oh man, where did I put that thing? Oh, come on, Josh. Dragonfly? Here it is, yeah. So, right, I use my denoising tool on here. Let me, oh yeah, let me just show you how to use it really quickly. So amount, you can bring it up or bring it down. I'll bring it up just a little bit, maybe right here, yeah, 34. And it'll create a new file, raw file, which the DNG is a raw file. It'll create a new raw file, and it's really interesting. I think these other tools are cool, but I haven't really used them. So while that's processing, because it does take a second, here's that JPEG of that thing that I took, a picture that I took. Man, I was so blown away. Stop. I was, oh my goodness, how do I move? I thought I was able to, maybe just scroll. Okay. I was so blown away how it was able to intelligently denoise this picture, bro. Like, and still be preserving the detail. Like, look how far zoomed I am in. But it revolutionized this image. This image was terribly noisy, but it was noisy enough to see. And so that was just crazy. Okay, it looks like it did a little bit. Let's see if it has the backup. Oh man, it did it again. I can never find it. I don't know what happened. It's supposed to. Oh, here we go. I had to click this button. So here we go. Here's the two differences. Okay, look. This one versus this one. Which one's cleaner? And that looks like nothing between the two. But I'm telling you, it's, especially when you're not pulling from Hades itself, it really is a powerful thing, bro. I'm really blown away by it. This is a good picture, man. I like this. I'm definitely gonna be posting this. So back to the image. Let's keep moving along. Almost done. Previous imports. Okay. Almost done with the whole thing. Lens corrections. All right. Lens corrections. So these are cool, especially if you have a camera with a little bit of super wide or something like that. Oh, you can use these. I'm not even going to talk about them anymore because that AI is crazy. If you need them, there are noise reduction tools. Same kind of thing like the sharpness. Does luminance, which is like the light, and then color, which is color noise is like the grain can have little weird colors in it. But I don't even use it anymore. It's just not. It's never been that good. It's always waxy. So now we have distortion. Let me zoom this in a bit. Go ahead, go away. All right, come on. All right, cool. Go away. So here we have the distortion. So lens correction is like, let's say that your lens has a little bit of warp in it, or maybe it's got the fringe, weird, like these weird colors on the outside, of each edge or something because the light hits it weird. Yeah, so this will help correct that. So either you can do a profile correction and actually choose what kind of lens you have. You know what I'm saying? It actually has a lot of lenses. Or you can do it yourself, right? So you can do like the distortion here, which is you can bulge it out. If you got a super wide image that's like got it sucked in, you can bulge it out a bit. Or if it's super sucked in, you can widen it out, which is cool. Definitely helpful. I know it sounds silly, but it's really helpful. Then we have these things here, the defringing. So for example, in these trees sometimes, like up here, where it has this blue edge, that's what needs to be eradicated. So what we can do is with the blue one, it looks like it'll either be purple or green. Okay, we have purple and green. You see the greens right here, blues right here. Sometimes there's purple, sometimes there's a little orange. So what you'll do, again, 100 on everything first and then figure it out later. So I'm going 100, and you see how quickly that blue just disappeared. But the problem with that is that sometimes if there's other blues, in the image, they'll be desaturated like crazy. So I'm going to first isolate where that blue really is by moving this hue thing over until I find it. Okay, it's right there. Okay, and then I'll put the orange in too, just to make sure I'm not affecting any colors I don't need to affect. Yeah, I'll keep it closed about right there. And then I can bring this down so it's not as intense until it's just exactly just what needs to be cut down. And then greens as well, I'm gonna go 100. You can see they kind of cut down a little bit. Let me isolate it. Okay, see how like I started to cut all these greens? Because the fringe itself is green. So it's going to start cutting out all the greens it sees if it's too far and too intense. So again, I'm going to start bringing it back. Oops. Until I find it. And then the same thing as the blue side. Okay, little teal in it. So I'm looking like right here. I can't zoom in anymore, I don't think. So I'm kind of just, oh yeah, I can. Yeah, so you guys can see the little teal in that. There we go. See, I went from teal to disappeared. Yep. And then I can bring that amount down until just at the edge of when it starts to appear again. So about right here. The fringing wasn't too bad in this image, so nothing crazy. Then there's vignetting. There's two types of vignetting. There's the lens correction vignetting, and then there's the post-crop vignetting, which the post crop vignetting is like after you've edited the picture and you want to add the vignette. This lens correction is again, it's for correcting, not for like color grading or So this one, if I have bright edges or whatever, I can kind of bring them in or something. If your lens has too much distortion, which this one doesn't seem to have, it might have a little bit of a little bright edge. So maybe I'll go ahead and bring that in a bit. I'll leave it alone. I'm gonna do the post crop anyways. Okay, so then we have the transform, another type of correction thing, which is nice. We can. One second, baby. 1 second. Sorry about that. All that loud noise. So this is cool. Transform vertically. You can kind of wonk it out if you're like at a wide angle shot and it kind of looks all stretched out, and then you can crop after. Horizontal, same thing. Rotate. I think you know what rotate means. Aspect ratio. It's a tool I didn't use before. When I was making this video, I was like, oh wow, this is actually really helpful. I could have used that in that bridge image. I can kind of like squat it or stretch it so you can change the aspect ratio of it, which could be really helpful in prints in the future. So that's cool. Then there's scale. Yeah, pretty obvious. And then X and Y off, which is the same as, well, it's just like pulling it left and right. All right. The constraint, I think, I guess not. Yeah. So the constrained crop will keep it outside of the white. So it's not going to add the white. Anyways. So that's cool. I'm not going to go through all these. I don't really know much about those. On to the next, effects. Now this is where you can have a little bit more fun, playful, whatever, vignetting. So here you have the post crop vignetting, highlight, color, paint. I actually never use anything other than highlight, but I guess you could do the other one, paint overlay. I think it's just how it's, style. You can bring these down. So this is the amount, right? White for if somebody died, black for something artistic. Angel in heaven kind of thing. So after I'm going 100 so you can see it. You got the midpoint, which is kind of where it's the center, or like how deep into the center it goes. And then the roundness is self-explanatory if it's round or square or oval. I have the feather, that's like how soft the edges are. And then you have the highlights, which is bringing in the highlights outside of the outside of the vignette, which is kind of cool if you want it to be realistic, more realistic, because the whites are still coming through, the vignette. It's not like it's just painted over it. So very helpful. I think my vignette, I don't know what I had it at. Vignette Grand Essence? I don't know. I can't read my own hand. It's chicken scratch. Then we have, grain. Grain. So I'm gonna leave a little bit of it because I do like that vignette. Grain is nice if you're looking for that film kind of image. I'm gonna push that to 100 and zoom in so you can see all this ugly dot stuff. So if you wanted to make it look like crap, just kidding, no, rough or not rough, and the size of the granules also, you can do all that stuff here. Again, I don't have as much liberty to do that in this picture as a picture with a little bit more. I can't see anything. I need to chill with the 800. This is how much it zooms in every time you click it. There you go. That's a little bit better. So I'll give it a little grain, just to make it look more imagey. I do sometimes, a lot more than often than not, use grain because sometimes images are so clean that it's just like, it's too clean. I need it to be more organic, make it feel more real. And now, finally, at the end of our list is the calibration. This stuff is crazy. I think I told you in the last video. This actually like shifts the colors around. as if like your camera shot it. I don't know. I really don't understand, but it's cool because it like adds a punchy use, like makes colors punchier. So for example, if I wanted to, usually what people do is the teal and orange, you know. So how to make that happen is you turn your reds to more orange, and then you turn your blues to more teal, and then your greens, from what I've seen, you usually pull it just sort of to the right, and then you can change the saturation of each one, and it can add, when done right, it can add a cool punchy looking effect, especially with skin tones. So it's nice. But for this one, I'm gonna do 41. Oh goodness gracious, is this a 7 or 77? Oh goodness. Okay, and then green is, oh my, 75. Man, I need to write better. 75, negative 13. The reason why I did this, the HSL after, I'm going to do the HSL after this, is because when I'm shifting the color around, those HSL values are going to change too. And it's just going to be a little crazy. So I think it was 77. No, it was 7. No, I don't want to change. Oh, goodness. Negative 7. Okay. So now I can go into my HSL and start changing the values around in here. So starting with the hue, let's see, it was 33 tab 4, negative 52 tab, negative 100 tab, 000. Saturation was negative 11 tab, negative 67 tab, negative 40. And I'll tell you why. Negative 44 tab, negative 65 tab, 00. And luminance was, really? We'll find out. Oh, because my vibrance. I remember now. Okay, and so 120 tab, 80. Oh, it must have been 100. 81 tab, 60 tab, negative 40 tab, 26 tab, 37, 0, 0. Okay. So now this thing's look dark, right? Remember how earlier I was like, why is it so saturated? Well, that's what I was doing. So I kind of, after I did those calibrations, I saturated the image again. After doing it, I guess, I don't know exactly how the process I did. I can't remember exactly. But let's go ahead and bring those colors back. And that was 166. 100 tab 66. Okay, and there you go. Got your colors back, looking good. Cool. So that's this tab right here. There's a lot in that little thing. I mean, you just went through all this stuff, all this crazy. Whoa, why does that look so different? What in the world? What is this? Oh, oh, I didn't even know I could change that. I mean, it's the same thing. It was just funny. Huh. I guess it makes it easier for per color. Anyways, then we have the crops, which I was saying earlier. Pretty easy to use. You can either do it by aspect ratio. So like if you want it to be a paper side, like a regular paper, go ahead and put that 8.5 by 11 and then it'll stick to that. Or if you wanted to do like 4 by 6 or 4 by 5 regular little photo, you know. Or you can keep it as the original, right? Or you can do custom, which will allow you to kind of change what you want to change, whether you want it to be, oh my goodness. If you want to kind of cut it up, you can just click Shift. Oh, sorry, Alt. Command. Nope. Control. Nope. None of those things. What am I doing? Oh, because I can't remember what I'm doing. 1 second. Shot. It's being annoying with me. I don't know why I can't figure this out. Wow, I feel really dumb right now. Oh, what you wanna see? Let the words fall out. There we go. Alt. Okay, okay, now it's just being dumb. Anyways, you should be able to just regularly, yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna cut the street out a little bit and bring this down a bit. Just kind of tighten up the image a bit. Enter. All right, and then anything else? Oh yeah. We're gonna go into this tool, which is the patch tool. You already saw that. For this one, it's pretty simple. I'll just do a quick thing where I let's say I want to get rid of this leaf here. I'm pressing space and then clicking in order to drag. Let's say I want to get rid of this leaf. I can just cover it up. And sometimes, yeah, there we go. Gone. Like it never existed. Good tool. And then here's the mask, which is also very powerful. And I'll show you on a different image as well. So the mask, I'm going to select this. You can select the person, the sky, the background, objects, all this cool stuff. Linear gradient, I'll show you that too, is really nice. But this I'm going to do sky. All right, so I selected the sky. Look at that, perfect selection. And let's say I wanted to make the sky white balance, a little more blue. Oh, again, PNG, a little bit harder to work with. Instead, let's do the color itself, which is, I think this is what I did last time. So let's say we wanted to make it more blue. Oop. Wow, look at that. You got yourself a blue sky. Yay, look at that. Wow. It's just like home. Yeah, so, and it's pretty easy to do that. And I don't want again, I don't want to make it look too fake. It was obviously a cloudy sky, but you can see what it does. Another powerful one, but I use on a lot of images, is the linear gradient. So you just click and drag, and it pulls it kind of like how tight or how sharp or in what direction you want it to be in. And you can modify it if you want. You can grab it, shorten it, you can move it, you can turn it, kind of stuff like that. And then you can modify from there. I usually use that when I'm trying to isolate a subject. I don't want the whole brightness of the sun kind of showing up on the corner or the sky or whatever. But yeah, I really like that tool. And yeah, I mean, I think we basically did all of it except for the mask. Might be a little different. Yeah, my mask is a bit different. Yeah, see, I've got multiple masks on here. So my sky, I actually can copy masks. So I'm just gonna, let's see it. -13, exposure 30, -38. Okay, that's all I did. Let's bring that over. -13, negative. Exactly that I do differently. Oh yeah, you can see that I darkened them. I had the linear gradient from the sky, darkening the top, a linear gradient from the bottom, darkening the bottom. I had this kind of in the middle, just giving it a little, oh, I didn't do anything with that one. I think I just had it there just in case. And then this one is actually, I clicked subject and it selected the house. Yeah, so let's keep working on the sky. I don't know why it's not working with me right now. Am I doing anything? Stop. Oh, that's why I wasn't doing anything. Interesting. Well, I can't tell you why there's any difference right there, but it's okay. I'm going, but I still got to grab that linear gradient, bring down the roof a bit. Usually you want to be straight, but I'm just gonna get it, just showing you. And then from the bottom as well. Because you don't want your image to be too busy. There's a lot of details, but you don't need all the details to be bright in your face. You're kind of just showing the picture of the house, So yeah, well, there you go. You went through all of everything that you could have gone through here. The last thing I'll show you is this is cool. First, create a virtual copy. Well, that just allows you to copy and do images. Edit two different images. Also, if you get sick of everything that you just did, you can also hit the reset button, which will just right back to the beginning. Luckily, I created that virtual copy. The last thing I will do though is show you the black and white. Right, black and white tool here is cool. When you're using black and white, make sure you don't have anything in like these parts of the curve or the color grading, or else you'll get like black and whites are meant to be black and white, not dark blue kind of black and white. Oh, but this mix though, this is super helpful. This allows you to still modify each color in the image, and how it has an effect on the black and white. And you used to be able to do this with a like a white balancing filter. White balance really does affect a picture in black and white. So old photographers with film, you would have a lens that was like orange or blue, and it would completely change the look of the image. For example, when I pull this over to the left, things get really bright. When I put it over like a little bit more to the right, you can see the tones and the trees and stuff change. It's really interesting how that works. But yeah, these tones are really helpful. Even and like if the sky was a little bluer, I could bring the color of the sky down, stuff like that. So that's how you do black and white, and the same tools, with the vignetting and stuff like that going down. Where's my vignette? Post crop. Can bring that in a bit. Midpoint. Yeah, and with me, it goes back and forth with the curves. Sometimes I want it to be a harsh contrast. But sometimes when there's such fine details, like sometimes you want it to be a little bit softer. Sometimes you want a little faded, or again, kind of the filmic look, which is nice, soft. Not easy to print though. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like I said, there's a lot to take in, and it's sometimes hard to kind of get through. But when you do it for a little while. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about with the black and white. Here you go, perfect. So like if I was in a black and white with this one, and the sky's blue, I could change that sky to be much more harsher contrast, you know what I'm saying, compared to the person. But again, like, pictures aren't perfect, so it might, especially with the hair like that, it might not look great sometimes. If it's kind of hard to do sometimes, depending on the picture. But you get the point. Yeah, let's try this one. Or let's try this one. Yeah, so I made this one black and white, right? And then again, I can go through here. I can brighten her up a bit, maybe bring the sky down a bit. There we go, that's much easier to do. Bring the sky down a bit. Make the pier more or less visible. It's just cool, man. The black and white is super nice. And like I said, when I edit, like I go back and forth until I get what I want. I get what I want. Oh, and here, since it's a pretty clean image to see, I'll bring this up a bit, just so it doesn't look as... with the grain adds a whole nother layer of depth to the image, right? So I bring the grain up, make a bigger size probably. No, I think smaller is fine. More grainy, more clean, somewhere in the middle. And then bring it down. Sometimes just a little bit of grain can make the image look a whole lot different. This one, not so much. and I can't really tell. My eyes aren't very. My screen is only so. With this, that's like 1080p or something like that, so I can't really tell unless I'm looking at my Mac. But I can only see it on my Mac for a second. Anyways, so yeah, you get the point. It's fun. I love doing it. I've been doing it for 10 years. Just having fun editing pictures and yeah, that's basically all there is to know. I mean, there's more. There's definitely more to know, but that's all I can tell you for now. Hopefully I can edit some more pictures around and show you some things or whatever, or show you what I'm doing, and just you can tag along and we can have a little venture, a little photography adventure. If you have any questions, leave a comment, or something like that. Sorry, I forgot to check the actual screen itself, the actual comment section. I didn't see anything because I wasn't looking. Oh yeah, those pics are looking good. Thanks, man. So you go ahead and you guys enjoy your date, and thanks for stopping by. And don't just forget to leave a comment, share it if it helped you. We went through everything we could. And yeah, follow me on Instagram, RIO.FOTO. It's in the bio description. And also follow her at wannabe photographer. Very beautiful, composed work, and I can't wait to see her learn and grow and make better, not better, even more images. So thanks for coming by, thanks for listening, thanks for stopping by, and just enjoying it with me. Y'all have a blessed day.